Hello, Blazor fans. Welcome back to the show. I'm excited. It's actually working today. We have internet so far. Yesterday's internet outage caught me hard. I didn't have internet almost the entire day. So from early in the morning through, well, I didn't notice till I started doing the stream, but through the mid afternoon it was out, and it was even out until like 10 p.m. at night. So things have finally recovered, and today the interruptions are all outdoors. So you may hear some chainsaws humming and some other stuff going on. There's some maintenance here. Show may get interrupted briefly as I run in and out to talk to some folks, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Thanks for joining me. Got a couple people popping into the chat room finally. And we're going to work on some ML.NET stuff today, so this will be fun. I've already got a project working, and we're going to start integrating that into our BlazePort application. I'll walk through the basics of the ML.NET stuff as we get that working, though. One of the things we'll probably do is make sure that the ML application is migrated to the latest version of ML.NET, because that's something that I haven't checked on quite yet. So let's pop over into a view where we can see some code. Let's get Visual Studio open. First of all, let's go out to my GitHub page. Let's find that ML.NET project I was talking about. I've got a taxi application that I built in Blazor. You can find that out on my GitHub page. I'll pop the link in the chat room in case you guys want to check that out. So we'll bring this screen up where everybody can read it good. So this Blazor taxi fare taxi fare Blazor server application is a server-side Blazor app that integrates a ML.NET model, and it has a service that it uses to talk to ML.NET. It's all server-side, so that's the type of project that we're going to be working with on BlazePort. If you're new to the show, BlazePort is an ongoing app that I'm building as part of a conference session, and it's going to be a booking service to book travel within the solar system. Let's just say that. So I've already got this project cloned on my machine. It is updated to the latest preview release of Blazor, so it is on Blazor Server-Side Preview 6. The migration process for this one was really easy because there's not a lot of pages to it. It's actually a pretty simple app minus the ML.NET stuff. So let's go ahead and get that application open, and I'll give you a quick tour of it because we're going to recreate this app inside of our BlazePort application. Hey, Gorn, welcome back to the show. Glad you could make it. So far, things are quiet outside. Again, you might hear some noise outdoors with some chainsaws and whatnot, but it's the nature of the beast with this live streaming stuff. First up, I'm going to switch over to my custom colors because I've been doing some video recording that requires me to have some different standard colors, and I like to use my custom color scheme. Let me jump over and grab that real quick just so I feel a little more at home inside of my own project. There we go. So this taxi fare prediction application, let's run this real quick, and I'll give you an idea of how it works, what it is, what it looks like. It's not the prettiest app. It's still pretty basic from a style standpoint. We're just going to use the guts of it anyway. We're not really concerned with the app itself, but what it does. This is a fully server-side Blazor application with ML.NET. And what we can do is estimate a taxi fare based on a machine learning model. And this is all integrated with Blazor. So we specify the number of passengers. We can give a trip distance. The distances in here are pretty short. That was the training material that specified these trip distances. So The trip data that we had is for Manhattan, and they aren't terribly long taxi trips. Rate code, I believe, is like the time of day, like traffic density type of thing. And then it's cash or credit. We select a vendor. These are fictional. We hit submit, and we get a prediction of our taxi fare of $29.29. So it's a pretty simple Blazor app from the Blazor side of things. For the most part, it's just a form, and this takes in all of our values. I'm scrolling through it a little bit quickly, but for the most part, it is drop downs and inputs. And once we have that form built, we can estimate that taxi fare by passing all that data that we collected on our form to a machine learning model. So let's take a look at the machine learning model next. Warren, thanks for the 100-bit donation. I really appreciate that. I love having everybody in the chat room, especially the regulars that come out and watch the show pretty frequently, especially now that I've been doing 3 a week. So thanks. I appreciate that, man. In my sidebar here, let's take a zoom in and look at the project. And I've got a couple solutions in this project. So I've got a taxi fare prediction service, and then I have my server application. And I also have a service application or service solution. So let's dig into these. I'll start with the taxi fare prediction part, and that has a dependency on this service, and we'll take a look at that as well. This is something I built on the show a couple months ago. We're going to reusing this in our BlazePort application to get the values for our space trips. We're gonna do some fudging of some numbers to get that to work properly. But the app is pretty fictional anyway, so it's not going to be too far-fetched. So if we look at taxi fare prediction, we have data. So if we pop into our data, we have some test and train data. So this is where our machine learning journey begins. We have our taxi fare test data. This is the data that we're going to test our model's capabilities against. And then we also have taxi fare train data. And this is the model that, or the data that we're going to use to train a taxi fare prediction model. And if you're wondering where this stuff came from, there are excellent docs out at docs.microsoft.com. And let's see, I'm trying to remember where the ML.NET stuff is. Let's see if we can find it from the top level. We've got, it's probably under .NET, and then under ML.NET Guide. There are lots of great step-by-step tutorials in here. And the one that I use to build this application is the Predict New York City Taxi Fares using regression. So this is a regression model. It teaches you how to build this. This is where I got everything from, including the data and most of the code. I modified this to I did a little bit of refactoring, let's just say that. A little bit of modification to it to fit it to my own needs, and then make it work with Blazor. So, let's see here. Give me 1 second. I've got some stuff going on here, and I'm getting some messages, so I just need to make sure, yeah, nothing important there. So I've tied this into Blazor. So we've got our prediction model here. If you want to follow this along step by step, you can find it at docs.microsoft.com. And you can walk through the actual tutorial if you want to learn how to build everything step by step there. It's also on a previous show. I can't remember which one exactly how long ago it was, but it's been upgraded from preview 4 to 5 to 6. So it's been out there a few months. So that's in the back catalog of videos at blazorvideos.com as well. So if we look at the application, we have our training data. Looks kind of like this. We have vendor codes, passenger counts, and we also have the cost that was actually paid out. So these were the amounts that were actually paid. So this last column here is fair amount. And what we're going to do is put this through a regression model trainer, and it is going to learn from this data set how to predict that fair amount. So if we look at our, let's see, where is it in the application here? In our data structures. So I'm jumping down to the prediction service. This is where my project differs from the sample online. I took it another step further and factored out some of the service layer that would be involved in actually exercising this model. So if we look, we have a common trip data, taxi trip data structure. And these load column attributes are part of ML.NET. And these are attributes that tell the machine learning model where to find data. So these are columns that I'm going to load into my training set. So I have vendor ID, rate code, passenger. I took out trip time. It is in the sample. I don't know if it's going to be removed, but there was no accurate way to get a trip time in the version that I was using. I'll have to go back and see if they modified it at all. But if you're taking a taxi trip, you do not know. You could estimate it, but you don't know how long it's going to take. It's a variable. Traffic could change. You could hit extra stoplights. You don't know the exact trip time. So that was something I took out of the training model because it just wasn't predictable from what I had. Now, you could use services like Google Maps or Bing Maps services. Those have estimators in there that can give you trip time predictions, and they do analyze things like construction and all that stuff. That wasn't provided as an input, so I took it out. Trip distance is one of the most important factors here, and then payment type has some bearing on the fair amount. And then finally, the fair amount itself is going to be what we predict, and we'll see that in the next class that I have over here. Let's see here. Yep, that's the one I was looking for. So I have taxi fare prediction. This is telling the machine learning model, this is the value that I'm scoring. So this is what I'm trying to actually get out of my training. So I want to get the fair amount. So I want it to analyze that CSV file that I showed, and I'm trying to predict this value here. So that's where that information is fed into my training model with that attribute. And then I have a test sample that just spins up a new trip and inputs all of the information in. We'll see this throughout the trainer. And then I have my service abstraction here. So I have an taxi fare prediction service. And my prediction service takes in a model path, and it has a function on it called predict fare. Again, this is something that you won't find in the training or in the material on msdocs.microsoft.com. I almost said MSDN. It's been a little while since they moved those docs. But the predict fare takes in a taxi trip, and that taxi trip returns a prediction, which includes our scored, our taxi fare output. So we'll be able to get that out of that prediction. All right. If we jump back into program.cs on taxi fare prediction, this is where all the training takes place. So this is a console application. And thanks for the new subscribe. Oh, Goran again. Well, thanks for the sub and the bits today. I'm glad you're enjoying the show, man. So on our taxi fare prediction app, this is a This is a console application that we'll run. And this does all the actual training. So most of the stuff up here at the top is just finding a path for the data files that we're going to load in. So you'll see these are input-output paths. This is my training data, my test data, and my output is going to be a zip file. That's the format that we're using to export this taxi fare prediction, is with the zip file. The basics of doing some machine learning with ML.NET is you have an MLContext. We have a function that we're going to run that is going to take that ML context and build, train, and evaluate and save a model. I know that's a lot of concerns there, but you'll see all those things are kind of intertwined in the way they work. So these all take place in a step-by-step fashion inside of this function. Let's break it down into that function there. Here we are. So build, train, and evaluate. We get our ML context, and we're going to load in those data files that I showed. So we're going to take in our trip data and our test data. We tell the ML context that we have a header on that file, because if you look back at our taxi fare service, there is a header up here, so we don't want that included in our data. So there are parameters that we can pass in to specify that. And then of course our separator character, these are CSV files. So we have that that parameter available too to specify what kind of data it is. You can put different types of data into these models. And these are of type taxi trip, so these are strongly typed. These are generically typed functions that we're running here. We're telling it what type of model that we have, or what type of data that we're working with. And then finally, the third line down here is doing some cleaning. It's doing some filtering of the data. I'm trying to remember exactly which data this is. Okay, it's making sure that we're only taking data where the taxi fare amount was between $1 and $150. So if there's anything that is not inside of those bounds, then we're going to consider that an outlier. We don't want a taxi fare prediction that's below $1. It's just going to throw that away, and anything above 150 it's going to see as bad data and chuck that as well. And then we pass that into a transformer that's going to train this model, and it takes in those the training and the test data and applies it to the ML context. And then we can evaluate it after we're done. And the evaluation process looks a little different here. We're going to write some stuff out to the console. There's even a whole library in here of console helpers that writes out different things of the console that makes this a nice user experience on the command line. So there's a lot of stuff going on inside that console helper there. It's all not required, but it makes it a nice UX for when you run the trainer. So we're going to do some predictions, do some metrics, and it's going to print out a whole ton of stuff and even create a nice graphic for us. So the guys on the ML.NET Docs team have put together some nice outputs for this. So we even have a nice graphic that shows us our data at the end and helps us get an idea of how accurate that training of the model was. And then finally, we save the model to disk. So we give it our ML context, and it outputs a trained model. And we do that with a file IO here. We just save it to, and we can give it a file name, and then our console tells us whether it was saved successfully or not. So the rest of this code here is writing out that single test prediction, and I'll show you where that shows up inside of the app when we run it. This is all just visualization stuff. So what we need to do is stop our app, because we've got two apps inside of this project solution here. And up at the top, I've got my drop-down box here, and I'm going to select taxi fare prediction. This is the console application. So if we zoom in there, let's see here. I've got a couple apps up here. I've got my prediction in my server. Service doesn't have any executable code, but these two do. This is a console app. The other is a web app written in Blazor. So we're going to select that one there, and then we're going to run it. And you'll see my console window pop up. And my console window is going to give me a whole bunch of outputs as it trains my test data. And these are all those functions that are inside that console helper class that's in my project. So this is all just nice verbose output. I've modified mine a little bit too. I think I have a little bit extra stuff output in there. And then this shows you the distribution. So this line, we want to have our predictions as close to this red line as possible. So the closer these are clustered to this red line, the more accurate that prediction is, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So that's our regression test there. Now, this is all just output from the machine learning model, and some of it's helpful when you're trying to troubleshoot. Some of the things that it does, it gives you the accuracy of the test. And if your accuracy isn't very good, you'll be able to notice it in here. You can see every once in a while we do have some tests that don't turn out very well, so you're going to have some outliers here and there. Machine learning isn't 100% accurate. It's not true or false. There is a lot of gray area in it. And in this case, we've predicted a $10 taxi fare, and the actual was $15.05. And then there's quite a few predictions that we go through in showing some of the test outputs, so you can see how accurate some of these are. And generally, they're pretty close. You can see they're only off by like 4 cents here, half a cent there. That one's almost on the money. No pun intended. Okay, maybe pun intended. Who knows? All right. So you can see it's not 100% perfect, but for the most part, we've got some tests to show that it's fairly accurate, and then our total accuracy was pretty good. Let's see if we can pull that guy back up there. It was near the top. I'm not going to be able to go over like what each of these scores does because I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a little while since I looked at this. But you're going to want to look at different aspects of these scores to determine the accuracy of it. Each one kind of tells a different story of how accurate your model is and where it can be improved. The R2 score is pretty important here as well. Again, I can't remember the actual definitions of each one off the top of my head. I should have maybe looked this up a little bit before I got on the show, but things have been a little crazy around here. But for the most part, it works. It works. It's fairly accurate. It's not the best example of accuracy that's that we could put together. It's it's dealing with some data that we have and teaching us how to use it. It's not a huge data set, so it's not going to be terribly accurate. If we had a lot more data, we could tune it in and make it close to perfect as we can get it. But again, things aren't black and white in machine learning. Just remember that. It's not true or false. It is giving you a prediction on something. All right, so we can kind of close this guy down a little bit. We got an idea of how it works. Let's take a look at the Blazor side and see how I've implemented it in Blazor. And again, my example is going to differ a little bit from the one that you find on docs.microsoft.com because I've abstracted out an interface for doing a service layer in an application. So I've got that here. We've got, let's see, let's go into startup and we can see the first thing we need to do is tell it where to find the model. So we're taking in that zip file that was output from the console app. And we're going to give that path to our service. And we're going to say, give me an taxi fare prediction service that news up an instance of a service, taxi fare prediction service, that gives it the path so it can find that file. So if we look at taxi fare prediction service, there's taxi fare prediction, there's the service. When we new this guy up, we're going to give it the model path. So when we execute the predict fare, it can load the model in and do the analysis on the data it's given. And then now if we go into index, you can see we're injecting that taxi service, and then we're taking that data from our form and applying it. We're giving it a new taxi trip, sending that to the taxi fare prediction service, running the predict fare method, and then I'm using a little functional helper that allows us to map that function back, give us the fare amount, and then write the output of the screen. So this is something that we're going to use in BlazePort. Now BlazePort, we're not predicting taxis, we're predicting space travel. We're going to try to reuse the same data, and it's not going to be it's going to be kind of fictional. So the idea is that if we have we're predicting a price on distance and some other variables, we're going to kind of abstract that into this idea that, you know, the furthest trip on our taxi trip may be our furthest trip in our space application, and the shortest trip will be equal to the shortest trip, and then that way we can kind of just fudge the numbers a little bit and just exercise ML.NET in general. And it's just going to be a fun fictional thing that we do. So we need to get this idea or this app out of this taxi fare prediction app and kind of implement that in our BlazePort app. So I'm going to move it off the side of the screen here, and let's pull BlazePort back up. We'll spin up a new Visual Studio instance here, and we will grab our BlazePort app. And I'm going to do a bunch of copying. So I don't want to take it in as is. I could make that project a dependency in here. I just want all included in the same project, so when I share this, I don't have to worry about these two GitHub projects being connected in some way. I'm just going to add it to this full solution here. So let's get this up and running. We're going to do, actually, let's run BlazePort real quick, see where we were at with it last. Let's do a little tab bankruptcy, get those out of our way, and run the project. Once we run this, we'll go through the steps of adding a machine learning app to our full application here. So with that guy's getting up and going, we worked on this last. We added a couple of kind of marketing pages, I guess you might say. We have our home page, and then we have our destinations where we could dig through. This is all placeholder data for now. We'll add this. We'll add some real values in here and make it pretty later. So we're still in the prototyping phase. So we've got a nice card layout. We can click View Details. We've got a master detail view here. And then we can also drill into different port locations. So we have the idea of destinations and ports, and model our master detail views on all those things. Today we're working on this piece. We're going to work on predicting a price. We're probably going to have to hand code some static times into the system for now to make sure we have at least a value that we can show to the user, but we want to get trip price out of it right now. So we need to shut this guy down. So we're going to be adding some stuff here. It's going to yell at us if we try to add stuff to a running app. And in the top level of solution, let's do an add new project. And we're going to build a console application. And again, most of this is going to be copy-paste. But we can talk about some of the code as we do it. So console app 1, this is the hard part, folks, naming things. Naming things is always hard. So I'm not sure what to name this yet. We need two projects in here. We need the top level project, or the console app project, I mean, that is going to be the fair prediction model trainer. And then we're going to have a service. So I wonder what we could call this. It's going to be BlazePort. Let's see here. It's been a little while since I've had my chat window open. You guys, feel free to ask questions if you have any, by the way. So we're going to need a model trainer. What should we call it? BlazePort dot, let's see. Maybe we should just call it fair model. Fair trainer. How about that? No, I don't want that. I don't want trainer in it. Fair service dot trainer. How about that? This will be our console app. So we'll have BlazePort.fairService.trainer, and then we'll have a, no, that's not going to work either, because then the service is going to be BlazePort.fairService.service. Sounds a little wordy. All right, let's do a, this is the worst part of trying to code this stuff, is giving it some kind of intelligent name. Let's see, trip cost trainer. There we go. I like that. Trip cost trainer. Prediction. Let's see. Yeah, we'll use that. I think that's good. So we'll add the trip cost trainer. This is a console app, .NET Core console app. And then that is going to be very closely tied to what we have already, which means we need some dependencies here. We're going to need ML.NET. And if we go into our dependencies, oh wait, I totally screwed up. I did a brand, oh no, I didn't. I thought I didn't add it to the existing solution. I just had it collapsed. So there it is. All right. So dependencies, we're going to do manage NuGet packages. Do this nice and visually over here in my NuGet package manager. And we'll say Microsoft ML. Should just be Microsoft ML. There it is. We'll get that installed. So we're installing the ML.NET training and prediction and all that good stuff comes in one package. Hit accept on that, and we should be good to go. Let's see here. We also need to import our data from the other project. So I have it off screen here. I'm just going to grab it from File Explorer. And I don't know where that's opening up. Open in File Explorer and nothing happens. Alrighty. Let's try this one more time. There we go. I don't know why it was doing it the way, or not opening anything, but it wasn't. And then I'm going to grab my data. Where did that guy go? Taxi fare prediction data. That needs to go in our app over here. And so now we have our two CSV files, and then we need the console application itself. And I'm going to grab all of this code and paste it into our console app here. We want to keep this namespace. I'm going to briefly just comment this out. We'll let it go to the bottom so we know where to find it. So we are using a lot of different things in here. We may need to bring in another package here as well. This is the visualization plot item here. So we need to get that. We're missing Microsoft.data, it looks like. All right. Let's see if we can. I know control period was supposed to bring in. Has anybody ever had any luck with that? I know control dot is supposed to help bring in NuGet packages, but I haven't actually seen that work. Let's try it on PL plot. Nope. Control period doesn't do anything to help us. It wants to remove it. All right, so we need a couple more dependencies here. Manage NuGet packages. There's a faster way to do this. I could just go into the other project's file, the CS_proj file, and drag them out of there. But I'm going to just pull them up in NuGet so we can see where they exist on NuGet. So PL plot is the other one. This will create the image that we saw at the end of the prediction. That chart that was plotted at the end. Looks like it installed successfully. We'll take it. So some red squigglies are gone. This is a custom one here. Taxi fare prediction data structures is something we're going to be building next. Then Microsoft.data view. We're going to need that guy. So back to our NuGet package manager. Let's give that one a search. That doesn't exist. So it may be under another namespace. Microsoft.data. Let's see what's in the other project. Let's pull that guy up for a minute. So here's the dependencies. I don't know where that one is coming from. Microsoft.data view. Let's take a look at the program.cs here, and maybe if we look Microsoft.ml.data, Microsoft.data view. That's interesting. I'm not quite certain where that dependency comes from. I don't see a package reference other than these two guys here. We're on .NET Core 2.1, Microsoft.NET SDK. Let's make sure we're using the same SDK. Pretty sure we are. And we are. We're in a .NET Core App 3.0. I don't think that would have anything to do with that, unless it hasn't been brought over to 3.0. So this is interesting. Let's try changing this. Let's try a 2.1 in here and see if it yells at us, or see if we actually get that dependency resolved. Does not exist in the namespace Microsoft. That's an interesting one. I don't quite know where that comes from. Let's see what happens when we comment that out. It's going to blow up somewhere. Maybe we'll be able to figure it out from what doesn't work in a minute. Common is going to be that folder of things that helps us write to the console, and then the rest of this is our taxi fare prediction stuff that we're going to add in, and we're going to have to rename. So instead of taxi fare prediction, I'm going to scroll down here to my code I commented out earlier, and it's going to be BlazePort trip cost trainer. And there we go. And I can remove this commented code out of the bottom. We don't need that anymore. All right. So we've got most of the red squigglies out of our way. Next, let's move over the common bits, and that's all the console output stuff. So we'll pop into our other project here, and we'll copy that out. Common, console helper. This is all the common bits. So we'll add a new folder. And then we have console helper. Spelling is always on par. It's part of the Blazor state has changed drinking game. So did I misspell something? I haven't opened Visual Studio Code by accident yet, so we're on a pretty good path today. Let's see, this is just going to be a CS file, and we can paste this in. I'm going to do the same idea here. I'm going to comment that out, paste the stuff in, grab my namespace again. This time it is going to be common. Let's see, actually I probably don't even need that. I can just leave that common. Don't need to pull that namespace in. What does bang uptime do, Mr. Magoo? Is that supposed to be like showing how long the show's been on the air? I don't have that bot command, I guess, and maybe it's something I need to add. I don't know. I don't know the bot stuff very well. I could tell you I've been online for 45 minutes. Let's see. I still am getting this Microsoft data thing, and I haven't quite figured out where that comes from yet. Yep, we've been on for 45 minutes. Did a quick overview of the machine learning process and model that we have, and I'm moving the same app into the BlazePort app. And I'm getting this ML.NET.DataView thing, and I can't figure out for the life of me what dependency or where to find this dependency. DataView class system.data. Why? That's in .NET Framework. I'm in .NET Core. I'm on Preview 6. And it looks like it's still there. System.data. Mine says Microsoft.data though. I'm trying to figure out. Let's jump over to the ML.NET docs that we had open earlier. And maybe there's been an update to this code base that I don't know about. Let's just double check here on, let's see, where is their sample code at? Let's see if we can find something in here. Microsoft.ml.data. I think I've got that one. Let's look at the sample code. This is what I really need right here. So if I go into program, I'm not seeing all those namespaces. So maybe the namespace got cut in the latest update. Maybe got merged into something else. I'm not quite sure. We'll comment it out again and see if it blows up in our face somewhere. This may be something to do with the service that outputs all the stuff to the console. So it may be related to just that alone. This is probably all this metric stuff here. I'll have to figure out where the heck that comes from. I'm not seeing any dependencies listed in the application that I'm using that stuff in. So I've got Microsoft.NET SDK, Core 2.1. Let's see, ML.NET 11.0, and that's it. That's really it. I don't see any other external things that that would be blowing up like this. Huh. Alrighty. Doing a quick search on that didn't really help much either. It brought me to another data view class that is in system.data. I don't think that's the same thing. Let's try backing up that search. Microsoft.data.dataView. Huh. Searches turn up nothing. Let's see what's in this one here. Data view ADO.net. Is this what we're looking for? Why? It points back to system.data. Did that namespace change somewhere along the way? I mean, let's try system.data then. Instead of Microsoft.data, system.data.dataView. No, that does not work. It's going to be one of those odd things that hangs me up today. So I'm using, let's compare these side by side. This is the top level CS proj file for both apps. So there's nothing other than what's included here. And the one on, let's see, where are we at here? The one on the right is the working app that doesn't have red underscores for Microsoft.data.dataView. And the one on the left is. So for all intents and purposes, we should be able to just copy this over here, and that should give us all our dependencies that we need. And it's not going to do that, I'm sure. I don't know where Microsoft.data.dataView lives. Now that actually stopped giving me squigglies now, so there was something in there. Maybe it's a version of Microsoft ML. Which one did I have before I did that copy paste? Go back. I just hit Control Z a couple times here. Nope, Control X. Oh, I messed it all up. All right, let's see. ML.NET 1.1.0. So there's a difference in the version of ML.NET. So that must have been, that namespace moved. That namespace definitely moved. So it's, the red squigglies are going to come back now that I hit save. I guarantee it. Yep. Microsoft.data.dataView. This was in the ML, Microsoft.ml dependency at one point. So let's see what they move that to. Alrighty. Let's look at, we need to go back to the sample. And in the sample, looks like the console helper stuff may have disappeared. It looks like we're writing this stuff to the console. Let's see, where does metrics come from? So we're looking at two different versions of ML.NET, which is what's hanging me up. So they've moved a few things around since it went 1.0, and I haven't updated my project, and it came back to get me. They're not doing all of the same console writes that they were before either. They've put them all in kind of in line here. So it looks like we're not doing the graphic output either on this sample. So when they updated the samples, it looks like they made them a little more simple. And they dropped the graphical output and everything that was in there. And it looks like they were using that Microsoft.data thing to write out these values. Let's see, metrics r squared. Maybe that's where we can look to figure this guy out. Let's look at where it's used. I'm going to move this back off screen again. So it is giving me errors. Let's see here. What we should probably do is load this in at the same version, and then we'll have a lot less red squigglies to go hunt down. Let's do that first. So I'm going to drop back to 11 instead of 1.0. So let's drop back to 11. Then we'll have to migrate up. And then by migrating up, we'll find those problems. So that error went away. And then we can rename this file. This is just going to be common. All right. Looking better now. Program.cs is still going to have these because we don't have our services in line yet. And we don't have the data structures either. So we have to have another project here. And we need to add new project. And this time we're going to choose a class library. .NET Core class library. And then this one will be called BlazePort. .tripcost service. We'll create that. And then I'm going to come into my other app and copy this service stuff out. So in our app, we need data structures. Whoops, there goes my my window there. I just fat fingered the Solution Explorer. Let's get that back. I love the help box. The Omni help box at the top is the best thing ever in Visual Studio. I am so happy they added that thing in there. Oh, the same. Let me jump back to that static namespace there. I just saw your question there, Goran. Right, so static namespace is using static is a so if you have something like a method that is static, and let's see, this is a method or a static. Yeah. So we have a static class that we want to access methods on. And instead of writing out this huge namespace and then writing out the method or the object all the time, we can use static instead. So it's kind of like an alias. And let's see, normalizing estimator. Let's see here. Where did we find that guy? Normalizing estimator. I don't know what method it is that we're calling. Let's look at the code again. So we're calling something off of this, probably fit. So we're calling fit, it looks like, or get output schema. Let's see where we can find fit in here. And I'll try it. Yeah, there we go. .fit. That's probably not it, though. But it essentially saves us from having to type out something all the time. Where we have, say static foo dot method that we want to access. And this is a static method. So what we can do is say using, we can put in a using statement instead of having to type this thing out all the time. So there's probably a better example on docs. Let's see, static using C#. Let's see what they use in their context here. So they're showing it in an example of system.math. So you don't have to keep calling math.py. So you can just call pi instead. So it saves you typing is basically what it does. Their example was a little bit better than mine, I think. They simplified it really well. But when you run into like static utility methods, this comes in really handy if you have a bunch of them. I think the reason we probably don't see it so much in modern code is that a lot of these things are extension methods now. So you chain them off the end of other objects, whereas we're not running a bunch of static methods out in the open. You can alias things with using statements as well now. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head how to do it. But you can shortcut these things and rename them. So it's pretty helpful. Let's see here. Well, we're trying to get these things satisfied. And they belong to our, let's see, Solution Explorer. Yeah, let's try not to close it by accident this time. They're going to be in our BlazePort trip cost service instead of where they are here. So we need to build those guys out. And the first thing that we need is our data structures. So we'll add a new folder. And then we'll open this guy up and we're going to copy these out. I'm just going to straight copy the files this time. There's quite a few of them. Did I not copy them? Let's make sure I hit my keyboard shortcut. Copy. And paste. There we go. We're going to have to rename these. We're not going to do taxi fare. We're going to do trip. Let's call it trip fare prediction. Trip cost. Trip cost prediction. And it looks like we have a namespace missing here again. We haven't added those yet. So this is going to use the same dependencies as our trainer does, except we don't want the plotter in there. I'm just going to copy and paste this one too. Let's see here. And I'm not sure this runs on .NET Core 3.0 yet. So let's make sure this is 2.1. Just to be safe, we'll change that. Reload all. We'll migrate this slowly up to 3.0 if it works in 3.0. I need to check the docs and see. Load failed. Something, it doesn't like something in here. .NET Core app. Did I spell that out wrong? Core app 3 or 2.1. Target framework. Oh, I didn't wrap that. I see it. There's no item group around our package reference. So there we go. There's our dependency. That should make that show back up, and then we can reload that project, and there it is. All right. So now that red squiggly's gone away, we've added in our dependency, and this is going to be trip cost prediction. trip cost prediction, trip cost. And then taxi trip is just going to be a trip. So I'm turning this into a naming nightmare. Test trips. We're taking the word taxi out. This is not a taxi, I promise. It's pretend taxi. Trip fare predicted, trip cost prediction. There we go. So just a naming nightmare I'm creating very slowly, just shooting myself in the foot. I know I'll pay for this in the end, but I think I've renamed all those things. And then we need the rest of the service stuff. So we have a couple services in here we need to move over. And we'll pull those up in our file explorer. We need these two code files. And inside of the trip service, we need to add those, paste those in. Boom. And we can remove class1.cs. They graciously add to every library that we put in our projects. And now we just need to fix some namespaces. Trip cost prediction, and then taxi fare prediction. That should have been renamed. Has not been renamed yet. So trip cost prediction here as well. This is going to be the renaming things show. I need to change the meme to renaming things instead of naming things. Oh, and I did it. I finally clicked on Visual Studio Code by accident. Jeez. I thought I could get through one episode without clicking on Visual Studio Code by accident, but I couldn't do it. Trip cost prediction service. We're well on our way to renaming everything. All right, sorry about this part of the show. Probably not the most interesting thing to see all the renaming behaviors here, but it is what it is. We had to get this done. We had to name it right. We don't want taxis in space. They're not space taxis. It could be, but I don't want it to be. It's all made up anyway, right? We can make it do whatever we want. That's the fun thing about these projects. How is this actually resolving? Where do I have a taxi fare prediction still? All of these things do not have taxi fare prediction in. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. There it is. Trip cost prediction. Nope. Take the word fare out. There we go. Fare amount. That's actually going to have to change too. Let's see. Worry about that one last. Trip cost fare prediction. Nope. Trip cost prediction. Trip cost prediction service. Trip cost prediction service. Trip cost prediction. Uh-oh. I'm starting to hit a wall. Too many renames. I'm breaking it. I'm starting to break it. All right, what did we do? We have too many red underscores here. So let's back it up a little bit. We have our interface. We have a namespace of tripcostprediction.service, which is actually wrong. This should be, yeah, I'm hosing this thing all up good. BlazePort.cost.service. And we're probably going to want to clipboard that guy because we're going to move that to everything in here. So that's why it's not finding these things, is because I've named them completely inaccurately. And boop, there we go. Service, wait, let me back up. Data structures on that one. I want to keep that one. There we go, that's a lot better. Fixing the namespaces, there we go. Goodbye, red underscores. Knock all you guys out of here. All right, nothing feels better than squashing red squigglies. Boom, and there we go. All right. We won the naming things game. That should be an arcade game right there. And Super Sniper's already give me the heads up of why I had all those red underscores. I keep missing the chat window. I need to move it to another screen. I've got too many screens going. Too many things on one screen anyhow. There we go. Move you over to the left so I can see you better. Thanks for the heads up, Super Sniper. Welcome back to the show, by the way. Glad to see familiar faces. Janescu, welcome back. Didn't see you there for a second. Welcome to the show. Things look like they're picking up here. Got some more viewers online. It's all good to see. I think I've named this all where I'd like it to be. I don't see any more. Oop, I see one more taxi trip. Let's see if I can get this one out of here. Just rename that one trip. Let the renaming tools take that one, and I think that helps. Now we're to the point where I can control RR rename. Ooh, I see one. I see one. One more. All right. There's actually a plugin that will light up your files too if you have errors in them. And I don't use that. I've seen other people use it. It got a little too noisy for me, so I ended up uninstalling it. But there is a plugin that will show code errors in your Solution Explorer as well. I think it puts red underscores under the files. That could probably be handy for this, but usually what works for me is a quick build, and then you can see the errors getting thrown until they're like that, and there's so many of them. Trip cost trainer. Yeah, the trainer we haven't fixed yet, so I can understand all those errors. What I probably should have done is built just the one project. 0 succeeded, 0 failed, 1 up to date. So nothing out of place there. So we can move back over to trip trainer, and now we need to connect these guys together. So I need to under my dependencies add a reference, and this is an internal project reference to the trip cost service. That'll bring in all of the stuff that we just renamed, and then we can go to our main program and rename these. So this is now trip cost BlazePort dot trip cost dot service data structures. Is it not? Let's go over to our data structures and see. Yeah, BlazePort cost data structures. Trip cost. Oh, crap. I still messed it up. Alrighty. So it's cost, not trip cost. I named it trip cost too. Oh, man. Let's do one more time. See if I can get this to work. Trip cost. See if that actually, the control RR actually renamed it all. Look at that, it actually worked. Yeah, we might need to rebuild though. The red squigglies went away though. And there we go. Now we've got rid of a lot of that stuff. I don't see any underscores up there anymore, but I see some down the file. Some in my bar here. Taxi trip is now different. This is just trip. Trip. That's going to be everywhere, huh? Let's find and replace those guys. 20 occurrences. I don't know if that was what I wanted to do, but it looks like it worked. That was a little gutsy to just do a full-on rename like that. Find and replace. But I don't see anywhere it actually messed anything up. It actually looks like it worked. We nailed it, Super Sniper. We got it. We got it. Rename for the win. We did it. Find and replace did the trick. And we have like one more instance here. This is going to be our trip. Let's say trip cost model. It's going to output trip cost model now. So this will be the file that we're going to load in. And looks like we're all set. I think everything's good there. Let's see if the side's good. I don't see any red underscores there. Let's do a full rebuild. See if we made some success here. And no, we didn't. Single trip sample does not exist in the current context. Why not? Single trip sample. I think that one's still named wrong. Where is that trip sample bit at? Data. Oh, I don't even see. Was it in? Single trip sample is in my test data somewhere. Where is that? Test trips? Single taxi trip sample. This needs to be single trip sample. Try rebuild again. Oh, single trip sample not exist in the current context. Oh, there it goes. Got it that time. Trip fare prediction. That one is trip cost prediction. And we have now renamed and rebuilt our machine learning model inside of BlazePort. There we go. So all the things have been fixed and renamed. Now it's going to be a matter of migrating it. So we are on ML.NET 0.11, and we need to get it up to 1.0. And I think that was the latest version. Let's see. We're going to have some migration pains now. So if we go to Dependencies, Manage NuGet Packages, look at Updates, yeah, this is what's going to hurt. I'm going to hit this button, and we're going to get more red underscores. So why? Why? Because they changed something. There's breaking changes. They removed an entire namespace, which blows up many lines of code. I'm sure it's named something else now. We just need to figure out what they changed that name to. So maybe, just maybe, if we find one of these red squiggled things, default column names, and hit Control period, and it doesn't give us any help. Oh no. Wonder where that went. And notice our static using statement's gone too. That thing got grayed out real quick. So that seemed to get ate with it. Oh, they moved the save to function on us. How dare they? Let's see if we can figure this out. We need to go back to the docs.microsoft.com. Docs.microsoft.com. I should have bookmarked this earlier. This is under .NET. And we're building an ML.NET thing. the predict a New York taxi fare prediction. And if we go to next steps, down at the bottom, there's a sample code, which they've very, very much simplified. Let's see what the PRs look like. Oh, there's a lot. 6 additions, 21 deletions. Let's see here. Browse files. No, I want to go back. And these are all the updates that were made. So there's quite a few things that changed, it looked like. It's on .NET Core 2.2 now. So we know we can at least move up to 2.2. Let's do that first. So double click here, .NET Core 2.2. Save that. And then we need to figure out where that thing moved. Context.model.save. I think that's going to be one of our changes there. So this, the save function I said moved. Let's look at our save. Save 2 was what we had. Context. So they're using the context to save it, and I was using a transformer to save it. Let's see, save. Maybe they just called it save. So it's not save 2, it's just save. Does that do the trick? Nope. What does save do? Model context save takes, there's no to argument. Oh, this is going to be fun. This migration is not going to be great. We can pass in a context. That's the only thing. It doesn't have a way to give it a file system or a file name. We'll have to look back at that one again. I hear dogs going nuts upstairs. So let me take a quick break. I have to go see what the chaos is about. Again, we have some people working out here. So I will be right back, folks. And we're back. Sorry for the brief interruption there. Looks like we have some ML.NET migrating to do. So I got a bit off a little more than I can chew with this one. What I did is I updated my version to 1.1.0 from 0.11, and it broke a lot of different things. So it looks like the file save routines are a little different in this version of ML.NET. And you know what? I've got headphones on that aren't plugged in. I cannot hear my feedback on my there we go, on my recording. Thought my mic was off for a sec. Some of the column naming schemes have changed as well. So let's see, our labeling, I mean. We need to label our columns. This is part of the ML process here. This is a good learning opportunity here. We're building up this data processing pipeline, and we're transforming our data that is coming in from the CSV file. And what we need to do is say what type of column it is. So the column is going to be a label, and it is going to come from the trip fare amount. Now, I need to be able to identify this default column name. Let's see what they changed it to. We've got the docs open here. Maybe we can jump around and see. I was looking at the pull changes, the pull request changes from the example, but they've done a couple updates since then, so we might have to dig through those again in a minute. But we can probably figure some of these out if we look. These are the paths. We know those are solid. And then here's that pipeline. So the output column name, they moved these to string values. That's interesting. So that is now just a string. Let's make sure these transforms are the same. This is a transform of categorical one-hot encoding. Let's see, there's still one-hot encoding. There is no longer a default column name of label. It is a string. So we're just using string values here. That's a different approach because usually we're all about strongly typed things in C#. So don't know why they reverted back to this, but they did. Label. So this is a label column. Let's see what else we've got here. Normalize mode. So we are normalizing these values using a mean variance algorithm here. Let's see what we've changed that to. And it doesn't look like that is happening anymore. So let's see. That has actually gone from, let's see. There's our label column, vendor ID, rate code, payment. And then we're no longer normalizing. It looks like they took this out of the passenger count was taken out of the example. And it looks like they took out trip distance, which I can agree with. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. And then vendor ID. Let's look at how they've handled vendor ID. It looks like they might have moved all of this into one line function here, except it's not doing exactly the same thing. They've changed the trainer a bit. And I don't know why they changed the trainer so much in this one example. I'll have to get with the .NET Docs team and see why they decided to remove some of the functionality out of the trainer, and I don't know what they renamed this stuff to either, because it was doing some other things and it was normalizing some values. So what we had was the trip distance. We didn't have a we wanted to kind of normalize that value across all of the data points to help get a better prediction, I believe is what was going on. So we gave it a normalize method here. And let's see if we get any help from IntelliSense. And Visual Studio is doing a fun thing. It's locking up on me. There we go. Or maybe it was my keyboard. Blame Visual Studio for nothing. So let's see what the normalize function here actually gives us for. There we go. Nope. Trying to get some IntelliSense going here. It just won't do it. Is there no normalize function anymore? Transform, and I want to transform. There we go. Let's see if there's, yeah, normalize, mean variance. Ah, I think I found it. They move these into specific functions. So this is no longer passed in as a parameter to a, they added some syntactic sugar around this, it looks like. And I don't know if my keyboard is going nuts or if Visual Studio is, but I can't seem to get its hype when I want it to. So this is going to be append and MLContext dot transform categorical. Oops, nope, sorry, normalize. So I'm going to go ahead and keep normalizing this value like I had it in my model. I don't remember if that was a tweak I gave it or it was one I gleaned from an example, but I was normalizing these. And it used to be just a regular generic normalize, and now they've added this syntactic sugar around it that says normalize mean variance instead. I guess that helps a little bit when you're typing and you get IntelliSense that you know that you have these varying ways of or modes of operating on the data. So now we don't have to pass in a mode. We just say variance here instead. And then the parameters. How do I internet? Hello, Brendanus. Brendan from Dev Chatter, welcome to the show. You missed the dogs barking and service people that I had to go talk to, interrupting the show. So you missed the fun stuff. You're only catching the boring parts where I'm figuring out where ML.NET has made some breaking changes between versions. So right now, looking at some old examples versus new examples. And yeah, it looks like they changed normalize to normal mean variance versus passing in modes. And then I'm looking for the parameters now. So I've got normal mean variance, and then my parameters are output column pair. I've got a couple here. Output column name, that's probably what I want. And then I don't know what those other parameters do. And it looks like they have defaults. So I'm going to put in this guy up here now. And it did not copy, and it's not pasting. My keyboard is not happy with me today. I think it's actually my keyboard. Let me swap that guy out. I'm going to go back to the old reliable noisy mechanical keyboard. Let me reach in and grab this. You hear some clickety-clack now. But at least it will work. There we go. Yeah, keyboard battery I think is dying. This show is all about jumping hurdles. That's all it is. Just me jumping over random hurdles that I either made for myself or the internet. Yesterday or Monday, we had like a complete internet outage during the first few minutes of the show, and now I'm dealing with a dead keyboard and dogs barking. So looks like IntelliSense is picking this up finally. I don't know why the color coding isn't quite what it should be, but now I know how to fix these. So it looked like just a little bit of pecking around, I was able to find through IntelliSense what this code migrated to. This concatenate function looks like it may have changed. Transforms, concatenate, default column names, features. I think we just do this with a string now. We'll do features here. And that fixed that one. We've got, I know why. Let's see, maybe I don't know why. Name of, trip count. I'm missing a brace in here somewhere. Missing one somewhere. I have an extra one or I'm missing one. Trip count. I don't know. No, something's gone awry. I'm not completing my braces all correctly. Let's see here. Yeah, I love IntelliSense. I wish it would help me with whatever this is right now, though. I'm either missing one here and here. And that was it. I did it. I had one, I needed one more at the end of each of those statements. I guess I wasn't matching this brace here, this parentheses here, at the end. So that fixed those up. Let's see. Trip time I had taken out. That's the one that got axed from my model. I'm going to take that guy out completely so I don't have that dead line of code in there. And now we have trip distance at the end here. Rate code. I try to use name of. You might see me use name of quite a bit. And name of is a nice operator that shortcuts all the string stuff. So when I rename something, it takes advantage of the actual property name rather than me having to write it out as a string. So you might see that a lot in my code. So it looks like we've got these pretty much set in stone. And then I've got another red underscore down here. So something else has changed. Console helper, default column names, features. Again, these lost, whatever this default column names thing is, it looks like they axed it from ML.NET. Maybe there were just too many too many values that could go there, and trying to create helpers around every string possible just wasn't going to work. So these default column names, these helpers are gone. I'll look back into that one later. I'll have to talk to John Alexander from the ML.NET docs team and see where this default column names thing vanished to. Maybe it was replaced by something, or maybe they just said strings are better. Go with those. Oh, now this guy's giving me an error. Does not contain a definition, or is it not an accessible method? So we need to look at ML.NET's regression trainers now and see what they changed the name of this trainer to. And it's simply fast tree. So it looks like they renamed this guy, and it doesn't take all of these inputs either. So it must get it from the ML context now. So it looks like it's working off the ML context. So doing all that fixing there is actually, let's see here. So my trainer is going to be regression. Let's see, it's worked a little bit different here. It's appending to that same pipeline, where before it was in a different process. Oh boy. This is testing me today. So in this one, I wanted to get a separate trainer instead of just appending it all to the pipeline. I don't remember why it did that. Where's trainer used? Trainer is used in a training pipeline. Training pipeline is used in the console writer, isn't it? This isn't going to give me a trainer back if I do it the way they have it in here. MLContext regression trainers fast tree. If I just straight append it like this, I don't think I'm going to get what I want. But we will try and see what happens. Go all the way to the end. Oh, too many. Too many. Jumped around, hit the wrong key. So fast tree. I'm not getting one for that either. So let's see. They changed this as well. You could do these before. You could set it up all in one pipeline, but then they changed the example that they gave to do all this nice verbose console logging and to give you a graphical output at the end, and it made some of this data processing pipeline break apart. And it looks like they merged that back together and just axed all of the verbosity of the output. So I don't know why they changed it. Maybe it was to make the docs a little simpler and the examples a little simpler. But I don't see fast tree in here. MLContext trainers fast tree is not in this namespace. Regression trainers fast tree. Regression dot trainers dot fast tree says there is no assembly reference. Okay. So let's see. We have an MLContext. Let's make sure they didn't change something with it. MLContext equals new MLContext. This is the same. Using Microsoft.ml, we have that. But this does not exist. And we should be able to access that without appending it to a pipeline. This is chaining off MLContext.regressions.trainers.fast tree. So MLContext regression.trainers. There's nothing really under this namespace here. There's no methods off this object. I mean, there's a regression here, and there is a gradient descendant here, but there's no fast tree. So what we're going to do next is call out this example and say, maybe this sample doesn't work. So let's go find this project. It's going to be under samples. This, I don't care for this. I love the .NET stuff, the .NET docs, but they jam every sample under one repo. And now I got to go grab all of them to hunt for something. Let's open a command line. Some feedback I may need to give to that team is, why is every sample ever under one roof? So we'll drag this into a folder here so we can analyze it. And we need to clone it. So we'll clone this gigantic. Let's see if it kills my stream. It's a really big repo, and there's so many examples in it, which could be one of the reasons why they toned down the amount of stuff that is in the sample that I had originally. It was this multi-step thing that gave you this really nice output and a graphic at the end, and now it's oversimplified, and we need to dig into it and actually see if it runs. But holy cow, is it big! I mean, we've got stuff in here for machine learning and Windows Forms and WPF, and it's all under one repository. Or maybe I just don't know how to use Git, and there's a way to grab just a single folder out of here, but that'd be news to me. So I'm holding on this regression tree here, because what I had before doesn't work either. This trainer doesn't seem to exist anymore either. And I'm not sure why. Let me see if in the docs there's something about trainers. Let's go to the machine learning docs again and see if there's a section on trainers. So let's see, there's the API. Let's try the API and see. Trainers. Trainers.fasttree. Look at that. Why am I not getting that? Trainers. Maybe. Let's try this. Docs instead of dot. Nope. Trainers. Gosh, regression.trainers. Maybe it's under something else here. MLContext dot trainer. Nope, there's no transforms is there. No, regression is there, and then there's no trainer. There's trainers dot nothing. I don't see this fast tree. Is there another dependency that we have to pull in for fast tree? Trying control period feverishly, and nothing's happening. Maybe let me try axing this here. That doesn't exist anymore. Using Microsoft.ml.trainers. Nope, there's nothing under the trainers namespace that we need to have a using statement for. Looks like there's just these type of models in here. None of them seem to map to what I used to have either. Doing some undos here so I can see what I had there originally. I should probably just comment that line out so I can keep it for reference for the short term. So it was a dual coordinate. All right. And I don't know what they replaced it with. I don't see any of these trainers. So let's take a look at the example again. Is that thing still downloading in the background too? Ah, it finally finished. we need to do is go in and grab that one sample out. It's going to be machine learning, tutorials, taxi fare prediction, and then that is it. But then it has all these sub-dependency things. Ugh. Oh, Clark is raiding back. We've raided Clark a few times. Thanks for the raid, Clark. We are troubleshooting some ML.NET migration issues. Looks like quite a bit of things have changed since I was in ML.NET last, and they have run amok with breaking changes. So I'm trying to figure out where exactly those changes have gone and what they've replaced them with, and I'm coming up with a lot of dead ends. So if any of you have worked with ML.NET in the last month or two, at least since build was when the last release came out, some pointers would be helpful. I've pulled down their examples from docs.microsoft.com, and I'm digging through some of their samples right now. So hopefully their samples work, but so far, Cecil Phillip, welcome to the show. Is that the Cecil Phillip from the Cloud Developer Advocates team, by any chance? Name sounds familiar. So let's see if their prediction model works without problems. And Fast Tree is there. Look at that. So, they're not on 1.1 though. And there's another dependency pulled in. So, looks like there is another dependency out there. Looks like they might have piecemealed this stuff out. And it looks like ML.NET was all in one solution before. Now it's in different packages now. So that's where our trainer got lost. So what we need to do is go back into dependencies, right click, manage NuGet packages, and now we need to browse. So this is all new. This is something that they just started to do because I never had to do this part before. And I guess that the platform is growing, so they're finding places to refactor things out. Is it fast? Yeah, there it is. The fast tree component. Boom. Found it. Finally found it. Thanks for the new follower. Let's see who we got here. Angel 00 or Angel 00. Hope I got that right. So we needed another NuGet package that was not there before. So the show has gone from integrating ML.NET to the pains of migrating ML.NET beta to the ML.NET RTM release. Right. So what we had before was var trainer equals MLContext dot regression dot trainers, and now we've imported a list of trainers. Trainers fast tree. Boom, there it is. Look at that. And we get our trainer back, and we can still process it this way, and we've done it. We finally got through a big hurdle, and then there's still some of these renaming problems here where we've gone to strings. So some of the ML.NET stuff, the helpers have moved to strings. Was that score or squares? Score. Actually, be really lazy here just so I don't misspell this. And then we have random errors because of strings. All right. Evaluate looks like it may have changed as well. Evaluate does not have a parameter named label. It has a column name, data view, label column name, You know what? We will just remove that. And score is now score column name. Like I said, they've changed a lot of the naming schemes here because we'll do this one last time for the new people that join the show, because naming things is hard, right? Naming things is hard. When we print this out, this is not this type of model anymore. It is a fast tree model. So I'm going to change that as we go down the list of breaking changes. And then we've also changed how we save the model. Jeez. And I see also something up at the top. Oh, that data view is back. That needs to go away. So that is gone. And let's scroll back down. Trained model.save is now something else. A separate package. Yeah, the constant names. It could be, but I didn't see them in the example anymore, which is what made me think that they're completely gone. So if you look in the sample, features used to be in label. These used to have a helper to write out the string for you. And it looks like they might have just wiped those out. Maybe it was too much to upkeep that code for what it did. It was just a string helper. So my trained model no longer has a save function that takes in a file stream. Save model just takes a context. And I love this. I love the interface here. This is if I do save, this is a save of interface I can save model. I like that. And then I pass in the context, but the problem is if I just pass in a context, then how does it know where to write the file? So if I do save, let's try this. Maybe it's internalized now. So let's take off let's remove the using statement completely for a second and just call save on MLContext. It's still red underscored. Argument cannot convert to model save context. Hello, ancient coder. Welcome to the show. Let's put this back out ahead for a second then. This does not work. Save now takes a model save context. Let's see. Let's go back to the examples, see how they're saving it. Fit, save, where's save? Evaluate, test, predict. They changed so much. I don't see, where are they saving it? Model path. Model path isn't being used. So they're not saving it. Model.zip isn't getting saved anywhere in the example anymore. How could that be? So they've removed the ability to save from the example. So I don't know how to output, evaluate the model, use the model, evaluate. We can evaluate it and we can train it, but we can't use it in an application if we don't save it somewhere. How-to guides, load, prepare, train, use the trained model, save and load a model. There we go. So it looks like maybe they consolidated different parts of the learning experience to other projects, I'm hoping. So we can load the model to a data view, save a model locally only, model.context.save, save a trained model. Let's see, model stored, load a model stored locally, working with pipelines. Yeah, it looks like that's what may have happened. They broke down the process into different examples. So they removed the save function and moved it over to another example. So now we know how to save again. And it looks like it's MLContext model.save now, where it used to be in the transformer, not Optimus Prime. No, iTransformer. And it used to be in the train model. So now, let's hope this works. Let's remove that. And it should be MLContext dot, what was it, model dot save. And then we can, now we pass in the iTransformer, which I have up here as my train model. So they really changed this. And then I have to have no, I don't need a stream. Input schema, data view schema. That's something I didn't have before. I don't know where that comes from. Just to satisfy this, I'm going to do something really bad. Put null here. Put in the file path to my file, and the file path is model path. So I have my model path. That should make the squigglies go away, although I know that's gonna be bad. So let's figure out what that needed to be. Data view schema. I don't think I have a data. Maybe this is it. Training data view. iData view. Is this an iData view? Is that what I need to save? Save model to disk. Calls. Where's my iData view? I lost my function. There's so much code in this sample. Holy cow. Jump there. Control clicking on things is a lifesaver. Let's look at the signature. Data view schema. So now it's not an iData view, it's a data view schema. Let's see, where do we get the iData view schema from? Data.schema. What is data in here? iData view. Okay, so it is an iData view. And let's see what they're using in their context here. They're loading it. And which one do I save? I have two. I have a trainer. I have a test. I guess it would be not the test, but the trained model. Train model. Training data view. Training data view. Let's try that one. Training data view dot. Oop, I don't have. It's not in scope. I have to pass it along. So trained model. We'll pass in also our training data view. And I need to accept that parameter now as an iData view of trained training data view. Training data view. Now I should be able to save it. Training data view dot data. No, it wasn't dot data, was it? Ah, criminy. Get row, can, shuffle. I don't know what the heck all that is about. What was it under? Schema. That's what I need. Schema. And there we go. No more problems there. So hopefully that saves. We'll have to figure that one out later. Load has also changed. Why not? Why not? We'll just change how we load, save, evaluate, train. ML.NET went from one set of APIs to a completely different set of APIs overnight. So yeah, let's hope they don't do this with Blazor. They just change every single bit of it overnight. So we need a path and an out. And this is now an iTransformer. Oh, it returns one, sorry. Model.context.load. MLContext.model.load. And we have stream, but we also need input schema. And there's no overloads. Let's double check. It should be just, there's two. So file path or stream. We have a file stream. And then we need the data view schema output. So stream. And we need an output. Out. Oh boy. So when we load this guy in, let's look at how this looks again. Okay, we just need an empty schema, data view schema. So that's a significant change. Don't know how that's going to help us, but it's going to load the data view schema there. And we used to create a prediction engine, but it looks like that doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, like they did with JSON, and yeah, that's an excellent example, Goran. But this is to the level of you're talking about just the JSON formatters and or parsers of .NET, and this is like the entirety of ML.NET is different. Like everything is, like every aspect of it is like this. Just when you think you know something, load a store. Well, that's cool. At least they added a remote way of pulling in the file. Let's see here, or an example for it anyway. New MLContext.load, and then when we load it, transform, load, transformer, saving, prep. I don't see how to actually load it and exercise it. So we used to call it, create prediction engine on it, and then pass in the context to create a prediction engine. I don't see that anymore. So how has that changed? Saving and loading a model, data estimator, fit the data, select the algorithm, transform the data. I don't see how to load the model and then actually utilize the model. Use the model to make predictions. It's the next step. Okay, I get that we load it. Create prediction engine. So that still works. Why am I getting red underscores then? Create prediction engine still there. iTransformer does not contain a definition. It doesn't? Am I calling it on the wrong? Did they move the method to another MLContext.model? Yeah, they moved the method to another object. So MLContext.model.create prediction engine. Yay, got it. Ah, jeez. Fighting fires today, tell you. One after another. And then I don't have to pass in my model context now because it already has the model context. It still wants something. What does it accept this time? Let me guess. iTransformer and data input schema, or all of those things. iTransformer is what we need. Train model is my iTransformer. And that satisfied it. That's the last red mark I saw. So I think I might have done it. But the thing is, now we gotta run it and see. Looks like a bunch of stuff got taken out though. They did simplify some things and all that. Holy cow. We'll see if we can run this guy. So we're not gonna run BlazePort, we're gonna run the trainer. And let's see if this blows up on us or not. So we should, already? Really? Holy cow. The logger looks like it has a ton of stuff that doesn't work anymore. And yeah, maybe we just won't log this stuff out. All of my metrics have moved to a different namespace, I bet. Regression.metrics is no longer a thing. Regression metrics. Let's see what's on this. Oh, they just renamed it. Instead of loss fn, it's loss.function. And then our L1 is I see RMS, but I don't see L1. I don't know what L1 is. Absolute loss. I don't see absolute loss. So we don't have absolute loss anymore. Maybe there's different metrics that we can pull in. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I know what this one is. This is root mean square. So that should be that guy there, pretty sure. RMS is root mean square loss, which is the square root of the L2 loss, which we don't have the L2 loss. We have a loss function. L1 and L2. Maybe the L1 and L2, let's see. Under evaluate, train, evaluate. Let's see, L1. Nope, L1 is not found. I don't know how to put the L1 and L2 out anymore. We will comment those out for now. I want to see this thing actually exercise and work. AUC, area under curve. Area under recall curve, area under ROC curve. I don't know which one was which. AUC used to be, it should be area under curve, but I don't know. This is precision recall curve. And Codebase alpha, I am not sure what that command should do, but I can tell you the repo I'm working on is on my GitHub page. Let's see if this works. If somebody knows a list of, and it's going to be BlazePort underneath of there. If somebody knows a list of good bot commands and what they're supposed to do and how to get those things, I'd appreciate it. My bot sucks. I'll admit it. I'm going to assume that I got these metrics correct. I'll have to look them up on their definitions later and make sure I've got them correct. Print, multiple class. Yeah, don't know about this one either. Multi-class classifier metrics. New. Multi-class classification metrics sounds similar. Let's try that one. Lots of naming Lots of today's show is just about naming everything. Accuracy, macro accuracy. Why not? Why not change? This is maddening. They just reversed the naming of it. This was all done just for the show. Like, they knew, the ML.NET team knew that this was just to trip me up on my show. I'm sure that's what happened. They care enough about my show. They wanted to troll me by changing every every function name in ML.NET that ever existed. Just for me. I feel special. We have loss function. I need to look up L1, L2 on and see what the actual definition is for them. I'm sure it's one of these things, or it's maybe in another library or something. Or maybe they expect you to calculate it because it's not hard to calculate it from one of the other values we have. This one says RMS, so we have RMS there. That may have been wrong all along. Right. I'm gonna comment these out till I find them. R squared is R2. Did we have that one up here and I missed it? No. Okay. And then again here, L1, L2. Oh, holy cow. Here we go again. Another renamer. And this was class fire metric, classification metric. Right? Right? Did I get it? Nope, I didn't get it. Multi metrics with an S. Wow. All right. These are reversed. IntelliSense is like bailing me out of the biggest hole today. Did I get that one right? Micro accuracy. Yeah. So make sure I'm not grabbing the wrong ones here. Micro accuracy, macro accuracy. Just finding my way through all this stuff. Boom, got that one. There's only a couple more. Here we go. And then it's probably not going to work. So I did all this for nothing. Average minimum score. We'll take the average distance. See if that's the same. DBI. Don't know the definition for DBI. Davis Boundaries Index. There it is. Boom. That's that one. And one final one. Oh, I don't know what this is going to do. Get column is now. Get column. Extract all values from one column. It is a float. MLContext. It looks like the number of arguments has changed. String column name. Does not take 2 arguments. Extract the features column. Data view column of column. Or the column name. Let's see, what were we trying to get? What was the column name? Looks like that's all we need these days is the column name. What was it? Where is it? How do I find it? Where was that used? It's passed in from somewhere else. Oh, it's a variable. So now we can just do that. All right, gotcha. Gotcha. That's the last one. Let's try to rebuild. See if it explodes. Wow, look at that. The build succeeded, but does it do anything? Can it predict anything? That's going to be the real challenge, and my console just threw an error. Yeah, I don't know what that means. 3 inner exceptions. Could not find. Oh, it's just a path error. That's good. That's something I can deal with. Consuming, so it can't load the file because the path name is probably incorrect because I moved it from another project possibly. And where did we hit that error at? Try that one more time. So it was logging it out, but it could not find part of file in path. C /user source BlazePort data taxi fare. Right, so it's looking in the wrong project for the data. So when we look at the path, I'm going down too many levels deep or something. What I need to do is take a look, and let's set a breakpoint here. And we'll try to rerun this. Let's see what path it's actually grabbing, and then we can try to figure out where that path actually needs to be. Remember this being an issue with the original code base that I had. So we're under the root of BlazePort, which is here. Let's look at this directory tree. Folder in File Explorer. And where it is sitting is here. And there's actually, no, it's not actually 2 levels deeper. Root, source, BlazePort. So it is sitting 1 more down. It's here. And then the file path is actually we're appending data, but it's actually going to be trainer then data. Trainer then data. Let's see if we can fix that. So root path plus this and that. Let's see if that, well, actually, we're going to append that twice. Get full path. I can refactor this out in a minute. I think I can do get full path and give it that right there, but I'm not 100% certain. So what I'm going to do is a quick concatenate and pop it here instead, and then I'll see if it works the other way. And then when I do path combine, I should be able to, actually path combine is probably better for up here. Oh well, I'll leave it for now. Let's see what that does. Then ML models is going to be the same. No. ML models should go, I don't have a folder for it. Add new folder. And I should be able to put them, hopefully it gets to the point where it can actually save something. Let's stop this for one. And now we have a folder for it to go into, just in case it gets stuck creating one. And then we'll double check the path as it breaks. So we hit a breakpoint. Path is now, oh, it didn't like that slash in there. Let's stop that real quick. So we should use append on this one. Path equals get full path. Let's try putting it in there. Let's try it that way. That should actually work. So get full path of that folder, and then we'll break on it just to make sure it's right, and hopefully we got it. BlazePort source / BlazePort train. That's still not right. We're down. Oh wait, no, maybe it is. Let's double check. So what we'll do is copy this out just to make certain. So what I don't want to do is keep failing on silly errors like that. I don't think we can have those double slashes. Nope, doesn't like that. We'll just take one of them out at a time, and we should be able to just navigate to it, or it'll tell us that directory doesn't exist. And it does work. Okay, so that is the correct path. We just hit it from the File Explorer. So we should be able to continue. And that is good. That's a good sign. Evaluating accuracy. And no, something failed. Method not found. Void. System not nullable. Method not found. Method not found. Missing method exception? That's hard to believe. What did we hit? Oh, I see. We're casting the predict fair. Predict fair. That takes in taxi trip sample. We're still got some word, the taxi word in here a few times. Taxi fare prediction service. Oh. How did we new that up? We don't have a taxi fare prediction service anymore, do we? It should be a trip cost prediction service. Oh, I didn't rename that one. I missed something when I renamed all that stuff. Look at that. Look at that. It should be trip cost prediction service. And then how many things did I break by renaming that one? I don't know why I'm not getting why I got a method not found exception on that though. So we newed it up. Let's try it one more time. We'll hit that error again because I don't know where it got lost. We got our path good. We should be able to run this prediction. It starts working. And I think it's just on the logger that throws it. The logger says that stop there. So I'm logging this out. Predicted fare is service.predictFare, passing in the trip example. Output is the trip cost. And I've got hard-coded values from then on. Fare amount is a float. Why? Predict fare. It says method not found on the method I'm looking at. Method not found. This is a first time that I've hit this one. Method not found. Missing method exception. Void MLContext constructor. System.nullable. So it's something up the chain. So I can't new up a prediction service correctly or something. Test a single prediction. So I should be able to create a test piece of data, and then my trip cost prediction service takes a model path, and then I load the model, and then my create prediction engine is failing, I think, is what is happening. Let's try that. Let's try breaking on that. If this doesn't work, I may give up for the day. It is getting late. We've been over half an hour now. And no, I hit the error before I created the model. I'm trying to figure out exactly when this error happens. So I'm newing up a service. Let's try one more time. I need to walk through this guy if I can hit it where it's breaking. Maybe my stream's getting disposed of too early or something. No. What the heck is going on here? Try one more time. So I'm throwing this error, but it seems to be catching it down the pipe here. And it should be in my prediction service by the looks of it. There's my prediction service. Let's step into it. Make sure I'm getting a path. I am. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Maybe I am not. No, it trained the model successfully. That's a good sign. I created the model folder, so I have ML models. We'll pop a zoom in on that guy. I have ML models over here. I created the folder. I did not create that file. That file came from the trainer. So we are training a model successfully. So we're halfway there. I can't load it in for some reason, though. So we're taking in the model path. Right now that model path is null. We should be setting that to equal to model path. Maybe let's double check that model path. Let's make sure that guy is correct. It should be. It looks like it is. But it always helps to double check paths when you're hitting errors like these, when you're trying to load or save a file. Gotta take these double slashes out, and I'm not going to put the zip. Yeah, let's put zip on there. If it opens a zip file, that means that that path is correct. Maybe that quote at the beginning there. I accidentally left a quote on the beginning of that, so that might have been why it errored out. This would be under source, BlazePort, trip cost trainer, ML models, trip cost model.zip, enter, and boom, yeah, that is there. And you can see training info, transformer chain, schema, all those bits are inside of that ML model zip file. So it has the correct path. We'll step in again. So it sets the model path. It has jumped back out. Something is wrong. Model service, model path, predict fair, service, model path. Let's pull an output not a command window, locals window. We have our service. We have the model path property. Let's do watch service dot model service dot predict fair. Fair is going to take a taxi trip sample, and that's where it blows up. Missing method exception. Method not found. MLContext constructor. Nullable integer. This is happening up the chain somewhere. Maybe, no, did I not migrate everything over? Am I using two different versions? Duh. That's what it is. Holy cow. All right. So I have two dependencies on Microsoft.ml, and one of them did not get updated. So my service is using an old version. Should be 1.1.0, I believe. So my service that actually consumes the model was on an old version of ML.net. So now that is fixed, but I've got some under squiggles because they changed some of the syntax for this, and it is no longer model.load. Let's double check our program here, program.cs, and it is no longer model.load. It now takes an output of model schema. So that needs to happen. If you want to see a seasoned developer fail and recover over and over again, today is your show. So hopefully you guys are learning some troubleshooting behaviors. Whether they're the best ones that are out there or not, I couldn't be certain, but I can tell you I'm being put through my paces today. This is the worst whiteboarding interview I've ever been on. Am I right? Like this is not going as planned. I think I lost my chat room for a moment. So if you guys had sent me a message, yeah, my chat window had gotten knocked offline. So I'm sorry if I haven't seen your questions. If you have questions or you've fixed my problems for me, I do apologize. I did not mean to run that. Or is it still running and I never stopped it? That's probably the case. So we have our schema. We need to pass to an output parameter. And now we can load it. And then we need, instead of MLContext, it is MLContext here dot model dot create. And we pass in the schema. Or no, we pass in the transformer, train model, which the train model was loaded from where? Ah, from that command there. Okay. That should fix the service. Let's give it a try. So we fixed the version mismatch. We've cleaned up a lot of errors throughout all of these, and no, something's... Oh, wait, that was a breakpoint. Whew, it scared me. I had a breakpoint still. And we're testing, and we have our plot of our data. And I think we may have migrated from ML.NET 11 to 1.0, but let's see how accurate our prediction is still. It looks like it may be okay. I had my doubts because we changed models actually from the previous. This one has always been a little iffy, but if we look down, we predicted 1485 and it's 15.5. That one's not too bad. 11 and 83 cents. Actual is 10 cents. It's off by $1 here and there. It's not too bad for a taxi prediction. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Not bad at all. 70 cents. It's not going to be 100% accurate, folks. This is just a simple ML.NET demo. If we can predict a taxi fare within the range of $1, I'd say it's a good day. And we now have the BlazePort cost estimator built in. We just need to integrate it into the app next. I'm going to close all these documents out. We now have an ML.NET 1.1.0 model built into our application, yet to be integrated. But the service is there. It'll be easy to hook up. It's just a matter of calling a method now. So that was a handful today. Sorry you guys had to get put through those paces, but hopefully you all learned and enjoyed something there. So, and sorry I lost chat for a minute there. I still can't really see it. Let me see if I can pull through the, I have an app that might be able to pull up the remaining comments in chat in case I missed something while it was down. I think I accidentally closed the window and it didn't reopen. So I apologize if I missed some of the chatter. Looks like it did okay. Yep. It looks like I didn't miss any questions or anything. Unless somebody has a question now, I'm getting ready to close down the show. We'll do a raid here momentarily. Let's do a quick review. Let's actually First things first, let's do some git pushes. First thing I'm going to do here is create a new branch, just so I do things the right way here. Let's do a new branch. Let's quit committing to the main branch. This is going to be add. We added a trip cost. We don't need add. That's more of a comment. Feature is trip cost ML. Create that branch. And we'll continue working on this branch on Friday when we implement the branch into our project. So we should be able to jump over to that branch now. Jump over, check out the branch. We are checked out. It is not pushed. Now we need to commit. Changes, there are a lot of them. And why am I not seeing a lot of them? Oh, I hope I didn't break something when I made that branch. That would be a waste of a show today. Solution Explorer is here. Why am I not tracking any of this? Tracking the top level solution. Those other projects don't seem to be tracking in my Git repository. Let's take a look. Is our repo up a level too high? Is that what it is? That could be the case. That would not be good. And that is what it is. Oh, that's going to be pain to fix. Ouch. So it looks like when I initialized the Git repo, I put it up under the solution level, or the project level. It needs to be on the solution level. I may need to blow this whole thing out unless somebody is a Git wizard and knows how to fix that. I am not that versed in Git that I know how to move an entire project up a level. Oh, that's not good. Wrong project for one. There we go. So if I look at this, if anybody has any pointers, I would appreciate that. So anybody in the chat room has any ideas around how to fix this? My Git is up under a subdirectory, and I actually wanted it to be down a level. It's not on the root where it belongs. May just be me wiping the thing out completely and starting a new one, which will totally suck. So my Git repo is under BlazePort, and I have projects up a level. Well, I'm going to have to leave this as is for now till I figure out how to fix it. It may mean wiping that Git repo and putting a new one up. I might lose some history there. Not a tremendous amount, but I will lose some history. So we will jump back on this Friday. Maybe I'll have a solution for that by Friday. Until then, let's take a look and see who is streaming from our friends. Clark came in with the raid today. Appreciate that, Clark. We've had a habit of raiding him in the past. Let's see who is open out there right now. We've got Live Coders. The Live Coders team doesn't look like anyone is online. Actually, Codebase Alpha is alive today and kicking. Let's go see what Codebase Alpha is up to. Thanks for the moral support, Copper Beardy. And I don't know what to do with that get thing either. We're gonna raid Codebase Alpha. I think he will be very happy to have our raid. Let's see here. I need to get the right screen open to do this. I am accidentally opening KitKat ads. That's a new one. It's off screen. Get the right screen open to do this, and I've got an echo going. I need to be on my creator dashboard instead of actually watching my stream here, and we will grab Codebase Alpha and raid him. So get ready to say hello to Codebase Alpha, ladies and gentlemen. We are headed over to his channel in just a moment, and we should get a pop-up here to raid now. I will see you on Friday. My show schedule says Saturday. I need to change it to Friday. I'll change that in just a second. Friday at noon. I'll try to have some community news if there is some articles and stuff out there that we need to catch up with. I know I have some of my own. I will save those for Friday. See you soon.